Hello and welcome to Franchise Direct. My name is Lily Burrows and today I'm speaking with Mark Scott of NatWest Bank. Hi Mark, how are you?
Very well, thank you.
Tell me a little bit about NatWest Bank.
NatWest is the market leader of the banks in the UK. We have a 40% share of both the franchisors and franchisees.
How long has NatWest been involved in franchising?
NatWest was the first of the UK banks to set up in the UK in 1981, so now over 25 years.
Why did NatWest decide to become involved in franchising?
NatWest decided way back in 1981 because the British Franchise Association had recently been formed a few years before, and the industry itself was beginning to grow and become more mature, and we decided that it was about time, because of the performance of existing franchisees of those smaller networks at that time, to set up a dedicated team to support them.
What are some of the benefits of franchising for the franchisee and the franchisor?
There are many benefits for the franchisor. The first one really is that they don't have to invest their own funds to grow their network. They use the funds of the franchisee to do that. And of course, generally franchisees will be much more motivated than staff because it's their business and ultimately it will be their income and their profit that they'll be generating. So the harder that they work, the more money that they'll earn. There are many benefits for franchisees. It's a good proven brand. There's lots of ongoing training and initial training and the support that they get throughout the whole life.
If I'm looking to finance franchising, what kind of funding and packages are available to me?
Typically the banks will lend up to 70% of the setup costs for a franchise. So that includes not just only the franchise fee, but any equipment, stock, shop fitting. So for the whole amount will end up to 70% for a proven and established system. If it's a newer business, perhaps more risky, we may be looking at nearer to 50-50, so 50% finance. But again, a lot of the time it will be based on the actual individual because the brand has been successful. The only difference on each transaction that we look at will be the individual franchisee.
Can you tell me what packages are available through NatWest Bank?
Yeah, certainly we have a number of different packages based on a particular franchisor. We might have a particular interest rate that we charge for some franchises or a particular arrangement fee. And because it's a more proven and established business, typically they're slightly lower than our standard fees.
If I'd like to start a franchise, at what point should I contact you?
You can actually contact the bank at any time, probably the sooner the better, because it's always good to know and get some advice about the steps to take. There might be a number of different seminars to go to where you might be able to get some help in actually choosing a franchise, because quite often when someone's looking at a particular concept they get blinkered in terms of the marketing material that they see and they don't perhaps think a little bit further ahead as how realistic is that projected income. Is it really projected or is it just hot air from the franchisor? So banks are quite often able to give an independent view as to whether those projections and figures that you see are realistic.
Would you require me to have a business plan?
Certainly if you're looking to borrow at the outset, a business plan is something that will allow us to look at what they're looking to do in the territory that they are going to open their store or run their business from. And the other things we need in a business plan are obviously the figures so that we can assess serviceability of any borrowing that we provide, and also to make sure that it generates sufficient drawings or ability to draw for the franchisee to then live off.
What kind of equity should I have when asking for a loan for franchising?
We normally ask for about 30% contribution, and just as a very general guideline, 20 to 25,000 we'll probably be happy to do unsecured, depending on if you've got a good track record, and then over that figure we'll probably be looking for some form of security, which might be a second charge on property, stocks and shares, endowment policies, or we can even use something called the Small Firms Loan Guarantee Scheme, which is offered by the government, whereby the government provide the banks with a guarantee for 75% of the amount of the loan. That particular scheme is only available if the franchisee does not have the assets, but we're happy with the business plan and it looks as if it's a good business.
What would be the average startup cost for starting a franchise?
The average franchise fee in the UK for the last few years has been around £15,000, but that's just the franchise fee. Then you have other costs on top of that, equipment, vehicles perhaps, which will bring the cost on average up to about 60 or 70,000.
What funding packages are available for startups?
The majority of the finance that we provide is through what's called a flexible business loan, which is linked to it's a base rate linked loan. and it will be 2, 3, 4% above base rate, and therefore as base rate fluctuates, so will their repayments to the loan.
Thanks very much, Mark, for your time, and thank you for visiting Franchise Direct.